Hello, my name is Sally Taylor. I'm an illustrator, an artist, and aspiring children's book illustrator as well. This is my opportunity to present to you my project, which is to create a children's book on critically endangered animals. And my project is to develop awareness for Key Stage 2 children so that they can begin to understand the global situation with endangered animals, particularly critical ones. The way I approached that was to research books available for the age range, Key Stage 2, the 7 to 11-year-olds. I also researched different charities, including the Worldwide Fund for Nature, Explorers Against Extinction and a few others as well, to find out what they were doing to address this issue. One of the things I also did was spoke to the charities to find out what technologies they were using, because I was aware that by grasping technology and developing that within my book would help the children understand in an engaging way, in a way that they were going to enjoy. So I've been looking at augmented reality, other technologies as well, but that's the one I've honed in on. My drawing style is pretty realistic, so I set about to understand the animals that I'm looking at, and there were 16 of different species and of the same species within the Worldwide Fund for Nature groupings of critically endangered animals. I was studying their habitats, the colour of their spots, where they ate, how they ate, what other animals lived there, what sort of situation they were in, and also what were the issues for them that they were in this area of categorisation of being critically endangered. So while I did this, I looked at my style, and I drew and I drew and I drew to understand how the horn worked on a rhino, how the spots were on the leopard and the tiger's stripes. Were they animals that lived together? Were there animals that lived in separate areas? I settled on gouache because I love the vibrancy of the colour, and I did some colour pencil work on top of that to create an extra dimension. I then scanned all my images into the computer, and then I was able to touch things up digitally. So once the animals were drawn in my sketchbooks, and there are numerous drawings, lots of sketchbooks, I then started painting backgrounds because I wanted them to be in situ, as it were, living in the right sort of environment. And I used Brusho crystal pigments for all of the backgrounds. I love the colours, I love the way the medium flows, the unexpected part of it, and it gives a nice dimension to the page as well. A little bit about augmented reality. It was very exciting. I enjoyed researching it and playing around with it. I looked at different apps for the mobile phones and tablets, and I was interested to find that some publishers are starting to use AR, I can't think what the word, but AR in actual books. The benefit that these books offer, it's a fun way of learning, that you can scan an image that's positioned in a book and to take you to a different plane, a different area, to a video, to something very different. So I did things like stock motion videos. Nick Park doesn't need to worry. My gorilla just made me laugh. My tiger, well, that's still in wire form stage. I also tested out Blender, so a 3D digital application, and I did a pretty good rendering of a donut with icing on top and sprinkles, but it really wasn't a globe. But I did make a globe out of paper mache and printed off the animal drawings to make a mobile. But from the research that I did, in the UK, schools, generally speaking, are a bit further behind. They're not really adapting to this. They do use apps of various natures, and of course, the children have homework that they can use on their mobile phones. So there's still a room for this. And from some of the discussions I had with teachers, they'd certainly be interested in exploring an AR-enabled book. So here is the finished book, which I'm really delighted about. I've produced it as a hardback. It was through a print processing company that does photo printing predominantly, but they do hardback books, like photo books. And it's got a nice gloss paper to it, which really makes it shine. So each page has got an information chart, it's got a graphic of where the animals are located on the globe. And I've tried to do all of the animals in situ with, as I mentioned before, the brushed backgrounds. So we have the turtle, the orangutans, and I've tried to make it interesting. Some of the pages have birds that are found in those areas, some have got fish or coral. To make it interesting for the children to look at, but also there's something special for the parents or teachers. Some of the pages have the Artivive logo, and that will indicate that there is extra information available. There is an explanation on the opening page of how that works, and if you haven't got that capacity, where that information is. I created two different sorts initially to proof out the concepts, the colours, and you can see here the differences with the first one, which was through Tesco, being much paler. I then emboldened that and it went to Boots. Didn't quite like the quality of the Boots one. It had some other elements that I did like. I also worked on the graphics on the here we have the outer cover. This is on the back of the book, and it talks about the Patreon funding page that I've set up, where people can actually help fund the production of the book. This is a big thank you to Ian Redmond, OBE, who's helped through checking some of the information on the pages that I've created. He's also provided some text about orangutans predominantly, which is his main field. He's well qualified, he's been working in this sphere for years and years. A lovely guy, and I'm really thankful to him. Right, the self-publishing element that I'm looking into now, if I had understood that better at the beginning, I would have created the book slightly differently. Portrait rather than landscape might have been, well, it would have been technically easier. Quality of the images, I've had to go in and soup up a bit to meet the requirements, the specifications. But on the whole, it's been quite a successful, in my view, a successful project which I have thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you very much.